Vena is the son of Anga. Okay. And then we'll see Vena's son is Prithu Maharaj. So Prithu Maharaj is a Shaktavesh avatar. He is incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And his prayers will also come. He will meet the Kumaras. Very nice prayers which will come subsequently. And his qualities and everything will be described later on. So the sages are trying to convince King Vena by sweet words and politely that he should no he should not do criminal activities, and if you don't do criminal activities you'll get a lot of blessings. So in that continuation we'll continue this satame vinashed vira prajanam shema lakshana yasmin vinaste nripatir aishwaryad avarohati. So Vena is a big thief and rogue and criminal. He is very cruel. The sages want to pacify him so that he becomes better. The sages continued, O great hero, for this reason you should not be the cause of spoiling the spiritual life of the general populace. If their spiritual life is spoiled because of your activities, you will certainly fall down from your opulent and royal position. So, as a king, he was supposed to see that all the citizens were were behaving properly, making spiritual advancement. But he stopped the sacrifices and everything, all the rituals for worship. Formerly, in practically all parts of the world, there were monarchies. But gradually, as monarchy declined from the ideal life of religion to the godless life of sense gratification, monarchies all over the world were abolished. So earlier there was one monarch we know, like Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor of the whole world, like Bharat Maharaj, after whom this Bharatvarsh. So like that, there was one king, and he would rule everywhere. I mean, he would rule the whole area. However, simply abolishing monarchy and replacing it with democracy is not sufficient unless the government men are religious and follow in the footsteps of great religious personalities. So Prabhupada is saying monarchy was replaced with democracy, and democracy, people elect the person they want, and ideally the leader should be very good. He should be very spiritually advanced, like that, and he should be able to guide others out of the cycle of birth and death. So, but now the people themselves don't have proper value system, so they elect leaders. So, like that, Prabhupada is saying this. Now it is only sense enjoyment. Anybody who promises sense enjoyment, they are elected as leaders. And the better they promise sense enjoyment, the better is the popularity amongst the people, and they elect him or her. So one thing is sense gratification is there for the conditioned soul, is a necessity for the conditioned soul. But that sense gratification is also not very sinful. Now so much animal slaughter is going on. Right? It's sense gratification. People are eating meat, but it is very sinful sense gratification. So the four principles, that's why we are supposed to follow the four principles. Okay, the next verse. So they were saying, you should not spoil the spiritual life of people, because he was not encouraging, he was actually stopping their spiritual activities. And he said, this will cause your downfall. The saintly persons continued, when the king protects the citizens from the disturbances of mischievous ministers as well as from thieves and rogues, he can, by virtue of such pious activities, accept taxes given by his subjects. Thus, a pious king can certainly enjoy himself in the world as well as in the life after death. So the king is supposed to protect. Kshatriya means one who protects from injury. So, like that, he was saying that the king should be very pious, he should be very fatherly to the citizens so that the citizens feel protected under his care. And when he does such things, he can accept taxes from the citizens. And such a pious king enjoys in this life and in the next. The duty of a pious king is described very nicely in this verse. His first and foremost duty is to give protection to the citizens from the thieves and rogues as well as from ministers who are no better than thieves and rogues. Formerly, ministers were appointed by the king and were not elected. Consequently, if the king was not very pious or strict, the ministers would become thieves and rogues and exploit the innocent citizens. It is the king's duty to see that there is no increase of thieves and rogues either in the government secretariat or in the Department of Public Affairs. If a king cannot give protection to the citizens from thieves and rogues, both in the government service and in public affairs, he has no right to exact taxes from them. In other words, the king or government of king or the government that taxes can levy taxes from the citizens only if the king or government is able to give protection to the citizens from thieves and rogues. Okay, so you can take only the king can only take if he can in return provide protection to the citizens like that. In the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 12.140, there is a description of these thieves and rogues in government service. As stated, Prajaste Pakshishyanti Malecha Rajanya Rupina. So this is symptom of Kali Yuga, this chapter, or dynasties in Kali Yuga. These proud Malechas, persons who are less than Shudras, representing themselves as kings, will tyrannize their subjects, and their subjects, on the other hand, will cultivate the most vicious practices. Thus, practicing evil habits and behaving foolishly, the subjects will be like their rulers. So, as the king is also a rogue, the citizens will also be the rogue. Krishna says, Yad yad achariti shreshtas tat tadeva tarojana. Sayat pramanam krute lokastadanu vardate. Right? As a great man does, the common man follow. Is that the verse?
Yes, sir.
So, so nobody will feel like, yeah, sometimes we feel the government is also cheating. So why we can't cheat? So everything is cheating. So government people are also cheating. So everybody will cheat then. The idea is that in the democratic days of Kali Yuga, the general population will fall down to the standard of Shudras. As stated, Kalo Shudra Sambhava, practically the whole population of the world will be Shudra. Shudra is a fourth class man who is only fit to work for the three higher social castes. Being fourth class men, Shudras are not very intelligent. Since the population is fallen in these democratic days, they can only elect a person in their category. But a government cannot run very well when it is run by Shudras because they don't know Shastra. They don't know what is the goal of life. Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? How we can live? So they are not educated. So how can they guide others? The second class of men, known as Kshatriyas, are especially meant for governing a country under the direction of saintly persons who are supposed to be very intelligent. So Kshatriyas are taking instruction from Brahmanas. In other ages, in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, the general populace was not so degraded, and the head of the government was never elected. The king was the supreme executive personality, and if he caught any minister stealing like thieves and rogues, he would have at once have them killed or dismissed from service. As it was the duty of king to kill thieves and rogues, it was duty similarly to immediately kill his dishonest ministers in government service. By such strict vigilance, the king could run the government very well, and the citizens would be happy to have such a king. The conclusion is that unless the king is perfectly able to give protection to the citizens from rogues and thieves, He has no right to levy taxes from the citizens for his own sense gratification. Like now in many countries, there is no protection for the citizens. So much riots happen, and so many people are killed in the riots. Sometimes they even instigate the riots, and there is no protection for women like that. However, if he gives all protection to the citizens and levies taxes on them, he can live very happily and peacefully in this life, and at the end of this life be elevated to the heavenly kingdom or even to the Vaikunthas, where he will be happy in all respects. So if you're pious, then next life will be good, this life will be good, and if you become a bhakta, then you will go back to Vaikuntha. So, any comments? This is about now the kings, how the king should be. Because the sages are saying this is how the king should be to King Vena. They are giving good advice, but he will fall on deaf ears. He will not agree. So, like, Krishna is saying, you surrender to me, but then if the person is not inclined, then it doesn't register all these things. There was nice yesterday. Did you see that lecture by Gaur Govind Maharaj on chanting? Anybody saw that?
No.
Yes, Prabhuji, you posted in that Skype group. I heard that.
We can see that how he is talking about chanting, how chanting is so nice, but we are not chanting like that. So he's chastising, how Gaur Govind Maharaj is chastising. So we can play a little bit. Not everybody saw it. So let's see. He says the chanting can give you all perfection. Why are you not attached to chanting?
Saw. 빨리 바로 안 뜨지? 안 한다고. All better say. All better say. Last thing is Krishna Nam. Name of Krishna. If you chant this holy name, by the Paramapriji Ananda Pa, you'll get supreme happiness. Unlimited Ananda, blissfulness. Hey, cannot get, cannot chant. He said only chanting 4 rounds. Only chanting 4 rounds. Huh? Huh? What sort of ananda you are getting? He is getting ananda in eating stool, Baba, like hog. But you cannot get ananda. Chanting Hare Krishna. So said, ask him, please. Great opinion. Not chanting, only chanting 4 rounds, he said. Is disobeying Guru's order. Huh? By way Paramaprati Ananda power. Huh? Unlimited bliss, unlimited pleasure. You get it, you chant Hare Krishna. Huh? Paramapriti, supreme happiness, supreme pleasure, unlimited pleasure and blissfulness. Huh? শ্যাম নামে কত মধু আছে গো বদন ছাড়িতে না পারে. What honey is there in the name of Shyam? Huh? He cannot taste honey. He's testing stool. Huh? One testing stool can taste honey. Even give honey to a hog, cannot taste it. Huh? He said, শ্যাম নামে কত মধু আছে গো বদন ছাড়িতে না পারে. Such honey is there, sweet honey. in the name of Shyam. My tongue don't want to leave it. But he says, you can't chant. What it is? Huh? You understand? পাইবে পরমাপ্রীতি আনন্দ পাওয়া বেদ পুনঃ বলে যত মুক্ত মহাজন পরপ্রেমে করে সদা নাম সংকীর্তন again Veda says all liberated Mahajanas in the spiritual sky they all chant Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. They are chanting. They are chanting there. Spiritual sky, all liberated Mahajanas. In college world, you cannot feel anything. But Krishna is so merciful that he has brought you this thing, the highest thing. You can do another sadhana here. Can you go to Himalayan mountains, sit there in a mountainous cave, do they say sadhana, give up everything, and only eat bio-option, eat air, pura ঘরের চকম হতো I don't like that. Breathing exercise. Will you do like that? This sadhana? Because your people cannot do any sadhana. Krishna is so merciful and brought you this thing. Only chant Hare Krishna. But you are not doing that thing, so the rest come. Understand me? And he gives the highest thing. Krishna Prema. Mukhya Jiva by Krishna Prema Dana. Chief result of chanting Hare Krishna is get Krishna Prema. People of other jugas cannot get it, Baba. Thousand years of sadhana doing this Ashtanga Yoga sadhana, pranam sadhana. They cannot get. But very easy. They say that you can get Krishna Prema by chanting only Hare Krishna. Because chanting is pure offenseless. Under the guidance of a guru, down Tattvamit Guru, you do it, follow the instructions, you will definitely get it with life. So, but you cannot do it. He said, I cannot. What happened to him? You cannot do it. Understand?
So Maharaj was saying that Krishna Naam can give you Krishna Prem. Of course, pure Shuddha Naam. And he's saying that somebody was chanting only 4 rounds. Why you can't chant? There is so much nectar in the chanting of Hare Krishna. So we are diseased, so we can't taste the nectar.
He was saying he's happy eating stool and he doesn't want to taste the honey.
Yeah. Okay. So Maharaj will shake you. The king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observe the system of 8 orders of Varna and Ashram. And when all citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations. Now he is describing the duties of a king. So in Varnashrama Matapum Birdvija Shreshta Varnamashrama Vibhagasha Swanusitasya Dharmasya Sansiddhir Haritoshanam. So all the Varna and Ashram, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, they are all meant to worship Supreme Personality of Godhead. The state's duty and citizens' duty are very nicely explained in this verse. The activities of government head or king as well as the activities of the citizens should be so directed that ultimately everyone engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody should be engaged in seva to the Supreme Lord. The king or government head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is therefore supposed to see that things go on nicely and that the citizens are situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. In the Vishnu Puran, it is stated that unless people are educated or situated in the scientific social order comprised of four varnas and four ashramas, society can never be considered real human society, nor it can make any advancement towards the ultimate goal of human life. It is the duty of government to see that things are going on in terms of varna and ashram, as stated here in Bhagavan Yagna Purusha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the Yagna Purush, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam. Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice. He is also the enjoyer of all sacrifice, therefore, he is situated in the orders of Varna and Ashram and are engaged. Therefore, in perfect human society, people are engaged, situated in orders of Varna and Ashram and are engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu by their respective activities. So, whatever activity you do, it is meant to satisfy Hari, Krishna. Every citizen engaged in an occupation renders service by the resultant action of his activities. So, we are eating. So, we are sleeping, all these things, mating, defending. So, all these are meant to be done in a Krishna conscious way. Like eating, Krishna conscious means eating Krishna prasadam. To offer it to Krishna first. And then we can enjoy. Krishna is the primary enjoyer and we are the secondary enjoyers. Prabhupada gave the example that if a servant lives in a king's palace, then he also enjoys the opulences of the king. Because he is living in the king's palace. So, when we become subservient to Krishna, then Krishna shares his all opulences with us. Of course, otherwise also he is so liberal that he is sharing with everybody. Even those who have turned away from him, he is so liberal. But he definitely wants to share. Just like as a father wants to share his the house that he has bought with his children and all his family members, right? So similarly, Krishna also likes to share. Although he's the proprietor of everything, the father actually signs the paper and gets the title in his name, but he is sharing with all his family members, his children who are young maybe, like that. So the children come and say, this is my room, this is my room. The father likes it. So similarly, Krishna wants to share. This idea, whatever we have here, is coming from the Supreme Lord. It is there in the Supreme Lord. So Krishna also likes, for Krishna the whole world is his family. Because he is the seed-giving father in every species of life. Sarva yonishu kanteya murtaya sambhavantiya. Tasam brahma mahad yoni aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father. So that is why he comes, tries to rescue us from, but he cannot force us. He cannot force us to go with him. But he comes and he exhibits his pastimes so that somebody may become attracted to his pastimes and want to be with Krishna. So that is the perfection of life. And he sends his messengers also. Time and again, so many messengers of the Lord come. Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, like this. Srila Prabhupada, they come to rescue us. We, under the influence of Maya, we are not thinking that there is some problem here. We are thinking everything is perfect. So, that is the effect of the Maya Shakti. When it is not perfect, we are thinking everything is perfect, or we become accustomed to this kind of situation. So he sends his messengers like Srila Prabhupada and they tell us, you are in this, whirlpool of birth and death. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1846, Yataha pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmanatam apyarchya siddhim vindati manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Like Arjuna attained perfection by using his skills in the service of the Lord. So, whatever we have, talents, they are perfected when they are used to serve the Lord. Thus, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, and Vaishyas must execute their prescribed duties, as these duties are stated in the Shastras. In this way, everyone can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The king or government head has to see that the citizens are thus engaged. So they are not doing sinful activities, because sinful activities means it will create a dark future for us, it will create suffering for us. So the king has to see, like the father sees that the son is not taking drugs, son is not going on the wrong path. So similarly, the king has to see that the citizens are for their own welfare. So they have to be engaged properly. In other words, the state or government must not deviate from its duty by declaring that the state is a secular one, which has no interest in whether or not the people advanced in Varnashram Dharma. So today, people engaged in government service and people who rule over the citizens have no respect for the Varnashram Dharma. They complacently feel that the state is secular. In such a government, no one can be happy. The people must follow the Varnashram Dharma and the king must see that they are following it nicely. So rules are there for our own betterment and our own happiness. Just like we may say, why there are traffic rules? Well, traffic rules are there so the traffic can move smoothly. So similarly, there are rules for every ashrama, and those are meant to actually conduct so that we can conduct our life happily and peacefully. Sometimes we feel suffocated, right? We feel like there are too many rules and regulations. So the ultimate rule is what? Ultimate rule is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. Everything else is meant to bring us to this, to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So, but those rules are necessary. Like we have those principles which are favorable for devotional service, which are not favorable for devotional service. So that will help us come to that platform of always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. Okay. Any comments? So we'll see if King Vena is going to get convinced. O noble one, if the king sees that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of cosmic manifestation, and the super soul within everyone is worshipped, the Lord will be satisfied. It is a fact. Why they are saying, O noble one? He is not noble. It is a fact that the government's duty is to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by the activities of people as well as by the activities of the government. There is no possibility of happiness if the government or citizenry have no idea of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original cause of cosmic manifestation, or if they have no knowledge of Bhuta Bhavan, who is Vishwatma or the Super Soul, the soul of everyone's soul. The conclusion is that without engaging in devotional service, neither the citizens nor the government can be happy in any way. So this is not so easy to be convinced about, that without performing service to the Supreme Lord, I will not be happy. So that is difficult to accept for most people, because they are saying, no, I'm happy, I'm having nice enjoyment. So we have to experience that generally, or see others, then we'll be convinced. At the present moment, neither the king nor the governing body is interested in seeing that people are engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, they are more interested in advancing the machinery of sense gratification. So Prabhupada is saying that they are more interested in technology and making new machines instead of making spiritual advancement. That's what government is interested in. Consequently, they are becoming more and more implicated in the complex machinery of the stringent laws of nature. People should be freed from the entanglement of the three modes of material nature, and the only process by which this is possible is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is advised in Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, neither the government nor the people in general have any idea of this. They are simply interested in sense gratification and in being happy in this life. So nothing wrong with becoming happy, but how to become happy? The word nija sashane indicates that both government and citizens are responsible for the execution of Varnashram Dharma. Once the populace is situated in Varnashram Dharma, there is every possibility of real life and prosperity, both in this world and in the next. Okay, so when everybody is devotee, then there'll be supply of necessities of life. Everyone will be peaceful and happy, and like that. But if everybody is only engaged in sense gratification, then there'll be fighting. There'll be no peace. That's why there is no peace in this world, because nobody is serving Krishna, and everybody has false ego, and everybody wants to do their own thing. And your false ego clashes with my false ego, and there is war. So many people are killed in these wars. In Russia, Ukraine, how many people died? Soldiers died in this war. We are fighting. I mean, everybody has their ideology, and they feel their ideology is correct. And everybody should subscribe to my ideology. So we have the capitalists and the communists, and there is tension between them. Everybody thinks, yeah, Ukraine wants to side with the NATO, and Russia says, no, no, you're part of us. You cannot. This is a threat to us. And there are power-hungry politicians, so they want to remain in power. So they will kill. No, Putin's opponent was killed, right? I mean, they don't say he was killed; he died. But anybody who is in my way, I will eradicate him. So there are all these things because they are power hungry and they want to be the controllers. So that is why everybody likes to lord it over others. They all want to control and dominate others. So there is a whole race that happens right now. There is so many arms are being developed. Every country's budget, the defense budget is very high because everybody wants to subdue or protect themselves because other countries are developing. So while the population is suffering, many poor people, but the defense budgets are so high, so many weapons and so many things are, and little thing goes wrong, then the whole thing explodes. So any moment the war can start. So we are living like that on a volcano. Like volcano can erupt at any time. So this is the civilization. Okay, so because there is no understanding that we are spirit soul, I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose in this world. This land was there before I came here. The land will be there after I go. This is not my land. I'm just here temporarily. So this kind of knowledge, and it all belongs to God. This knowledge is not there. I didn't create the land. Somebody created this land, this earth. It is coming from the Supreme Lord. So when we forget the real proprietor, then we want to claim ourselves as the proprietor. We are the proprietors. And then there is fighting going on. So Prabhupada wanted to spread Krishna consciousness. So now so many people are become vegetarians, right? So they have given up eating meat like that. So many animals are being spared, right? Because those people are not eating, so the market will be less, and they'll kill less animals. They are killing animals because there is a market for them, market for consumption. But if people become vegetarians, if Krishna consciousness spreads and if people become vegetarians and stop smoking, and then all this cigarette industry will close and the brothels and everything will be closed. But it is big business. So and when we are in enjoyment mentality, then we don't think about others. We don't think about others. when we are in enjoyment mentality. We don't think about the suffering of others or anything. It's all about my enjoyment. So that is why one becomes very selfish. It's all about me, and we can't relate to the pain of others. So that is how these wars are being fought. Nobody is thinking about the pains the citizens are going through, the animals are going through. And to become less to become guilt free, they will say, oh, we are slaughtering the animals in a human way. They are not feeling pain and all these things. So we come up with different kinds of, philosophies and things like that. So rationalizations. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the great demigods, controllers of universal affairs. When is satisfied, nothing is impossible to achieve. For this reason, all the demigods, presiding deities of different planets, as well as the inhabitants of their planets, take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for his worship. So when Krishna is satisfied, everything is prosperous, everything will flourish. So all the demigods are also worshipping Krishna. All Vedic civilization is summarized in this verse. All living entities, either on this planet or on other planets, have to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their respective duties. When he is satisfied, all necessities of life are automatically supplied. So supply is otherwise restricted when we ignore the Supreme Lord. In the Vedas, it is also stated, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. From the Vedas, this is Katha Upanishad, we understand that he is supplying everyone's necessities. And we can actually see that the lower animals, the birds and bees, have no business or profession, yet they are not dying for want of food. They are all living in nature's way, and they have all the necessities of life provided, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Human society, however, has artificially created a type of civilization which makes one forgetful of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are now in this artificial economic condition, and which can collapse, and so there is a lot of anxiety, and all these things makes us forget the goal of life. So, and so many distractions modern civilization has created, which will set aside the real problems of life to solve, and we are only focusing on some immediate problems. Prabhupada writes in Ishopanishad, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities to forget the perpetual miseries of material existence. So we do so many activities. We think, oh, now I have a nice car, I got the latest car. But your problems, so when you get absorbed in all these things, then you forget about solving the problem of birth, death, old age, and disease. Because you become so, we get carried away by all these distractions. I got a nice house, I got a nice spouse, I got a nice child. So now I'm so enamored by all these things that I forget actually what are my real problems and how to solve them. So we get carried away by all this. Now I got a promotion in my job. I have so much money. Now how I can spend the money? I can go on a cruise and I can go here, I can go there. And in this way, whole life one can waste. So of course you can go, but you have to remember Krishna, you have to chant Hare Krishna. So like that, there are so many things now. Facebook and all these things can constantly engage us. Modern society even enables one to forget the Supreme Personality of God, its grace and mercy. Rupa Goswami did not have cell phone, right? Still he was very Krishna conscious. He didn't have Facebook. He didn't have internet. He didn't even have a car. There was no car in those days. So he didn't even have a house to live in Vrindavan. But he was very Krishna conscious. And he was very happy. That's the main thing. He was very, very happy. Despite not having any. Now, I'm not saying we have to give up all, but the happiness is not dependent on all this possession of material things, but it comes from the purification of heart, our relationship with God from devotional service. So that happiness is what is real happiness. So modern society, there is some happiness in enjoying the senses also, the body. You get some happiness. That is why there are so many restaurants and so many movie theaters and so many different things are there. So for enjoyment. So, but with that enjoyment, it does not really satisfy the heart. You may indulge in that enjoyment, and but the heart will still not be satisfied. That is what Shastra is saying. Sometimes we feel, no, no, I ate a nice meal. It's so satisfying. It's so wonderful. So nice. Yeah, you can feel like that. But just offer it to Krishna first. Whatever you eat, nice things first. Vegetarian. Then it will give even, it will destroy all the sins from the past. Even if you ate a nice meal, Krishna is saying that if you didn't offer it to me, then you ate sin because some life was involved, and we may not get the reaction immediately, but we'll get later on. So while we enjoy, then we may not feel that we are, we are doing something wrong. But later on, the reaction will come. That's what Krishna is saying. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evate. Now you're enjoying, but later on, the reaction of that thing will come. So it will create misery later on. So modern society even enables one to forget the Supreme Personality of God, its grace and mercy. Consequently, modern civilized man is always unhappy and in need of things. Because the heart is not satisfied, he's thinking, I can get this, I can get this, I can get that. And it always, and they are producing more and more goods. And then we are thinking, I should get this, I should get this, and then. People do not know that ultimate goal of life is to approach Lord Vishnu and satisfy him. So, in whichever glass you drink, it doesn't matter the glass, right? But we are thinking if you drink in a golden glass, then it is much better than drinking in a steel glass. But whatever you're drinking, the taste will be the same. If you, let's say there is some sweet rice, you eat it out of a steel glass or you eat it out of a golden glass, golden cup, steel cup, the taste will be the same. It's not going to change. But we are thinking that if I drink it out of a golden cup, then the taste will be different. So the taste is the same. So we are trying to change. Right? That's why they say when animals are enjoying and human beings are enjoying, there is no difference. It is the same kind of happiness: eating, mating, sleeping, defending. The animals are getting the same kind of happiness. Of course, but we want happiness. So what can we do? We can't live without happiness. So not knowing spiritual happiness, then we only know the material happiness. And that's why we remain attached to it. That's why Prabhupada said, you chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's the real way. As Gaur Govind Maharaj was saying, this is the real way. There is so much nectar in this holy name of Krishna. Tunde Tandavini Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labde. But that nectar experience does not come easy. We have to really be at it. Consistently we have to chant very nicely. Praying to Krishna like that, and our whole lifestyle. So that's why it's not so easy to get taste in chanting Hare Krishna. And we feel like it's boring. When will these rounds get done? Like that. So, but if we chant every day and very respectfully, very attentively, then as Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, then slowly, gradually the taste will come. We don't have taste, but we have a desire to get taste, right? We have a desire to get taste. And if you don't have a desire to get taste, then you should have a desire to desire. Desire to have a desire to get taste, like that. So thus, having taken this materialistic way of life as everything, they become captivated by materialistic activities. Indeed, the leaders are always encouraging them to follow this path, and general populace, being ignorant of the laws of God and following their blind leaders down the path of unhappiness. In order to rectify this world situation, all people should be trained in Krishna consciousness and act in accordance with Varnashram system. So, only way to experience this happiness of Krishna consciousness is by actually doing it. Right? We say we can talk about how sweet the honey is, how sweet the honey is. But until you open the jar and take a spoon and put the honey in your mouth, on the tongue, you cannot taste the sweetness of honey. But this is like an advertisement, right? First, there is advertisement that this honey is very good, you should buy it. And then we buy it and we taste it. So, like all scriptures, they are giving advertisement that chant Hare Krishna, this is very wonderful, that is wonderful. Then somehow or other we get this, and they are giving us so many benefits. They are tempting us to chant Hare Krishna. Oh, all your sins will be destroyed. But this tempting is not like a false temptation. It is actually real. Your sins will be destroyed. This will happen. So many benefits of chanting Hare Krishna. You will go to the spiritual world. You will be very happy forever. So, after hearing about all these things, it is meant to increase, like, okay, now let me chant Hare Krishna. So, all this Prabhupada is saying is trying to convince us to surrender to Krishna, to accept devotional service. So, he is comparing both life with devotional service and life without devotional service. And he's telling us, so that we accept the proper. So here he's saying that they are following the blind leaders down the path of unhappiness. In order to rectify this world situation, all people should be trained in Krishna consciousness and act in accordance with Varnashram system. The state should also see that the people are engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the primary duty of the state. The Krishna consciousness movement was started to convince the general populace to adopt the process by which to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus solve all problems. So this movement was started to convince all of us to accept devotional service and thus solve all problems. Means birth, death, old age, disease problem. That's the main problem. Okay, so if you don't solve, then again the problems will happen. Again next life, again birth, death, old age, disease. Same struggle. Same going to hospital, going through all this operations, surgeries, and all these things, accidents, and all this legal problems and all these problems. Again, this will happen. Again, will be an anxiety. So many times, we may say, well, this is like we are thinking about our own happiness. This is not pure bhakti because we are still thinking about our own happiness. But Krishna wants us to be happy. And we are so foolish. We are trying to find happiness in a different way. We are not yet realized the miseries of, birth, death, old age, disease. Until we go through it, unless we have some disease and we go through all these things, we don't realize the miseries. But by seeing others also, we can realize to some extent. But one who has actually, he says, I don't want this. I don't want this. I want to make a solution. So there is no material solution. You can't make a solution. There is only spiritual solution. That means you have to surrender to Krishna. So this life, the remainder of our life, and anyway, this life is anyway going to end in a few decades. How long we are going to live. So even if it is false, if the mind says this is all not true, then it's okay. Anyway, it's going to end. Everything will come to an end at some day. So then the intelligent person says, okay, even if it is false, let me just engage in this thing because there is some promise of future happiness, of eternal life. Otherwise, materially living, what is going to come? Nothing is going to happen. Death is going to come. And if we don't believe there is a soul, then we will think everything ends with death, and that's it. So But there is a soul. I mean, we may believe or we may not believe. We are the soul. So the more we believe in this basics of Krishna consciousness, the more our motivation to practice bhakti. So if we don't believe, for Krishna says that we don't believe that there is something like soul, there is next life, and we are in the cycle of birth and death, and we are rotating, and this material world is going to become very troublesome in Kali Yuga. All these things, if we don't believe, then we will be in our own world trying to find happiness. And then we'll get only unhappiness. So that is how. So sometimes we have to go through some difficult situation in life. When we become helpless, then we can actually, Krishna, then we try to find some solution. So, okay, so it's already 7:53. We are supposed to read 15 verses, so let's see. We started with 16. So, dear King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with the predominating deities, is the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices in all planets. The Supreme Lord is the sum total of the three Vedas, the owner of everything, and the ultimate goal of all austerity. Therefore, your countrymen should engage in performing various sacrifices for your elevation. Indeed, you should always direct them towards the offering of sacrifices. So they are giving all good advice. Everybody should serve Krishna. When all the Brahmanas engage in performing sacrifices in your kingdom, all the demigods who are plenary expansions of the Lord will be very much satisfied by their activities and will give you desired result. Therefore, O hero, do not stop the sacrificial performances. If you stop them, you will disrespect the demigods. King Vena replied, you are not at all experienced. So he's telling the sages. They are saying, you should allow the sacrifices, because by this sacrifice, the demigods will be pleased and they will supply necessities. And King Vena is saying, you don't know. It is very much regrettable that you are maintaining something which is not religious and are accepting it as a religious. Indeed, I think you are giving up your real husband who maintains you and are searching after some paramour to worship. So he's saying you don't know the truth. So in Kali Yuga, dharma, of course this is not Kali Yuga, but in Kali Yuga, dharma is considered as adharma and adharma is considered as dharma. So like that. Like in Nepal and some place, they will kill so many animals in the name of dharma. It's actually a dharma, but they will do all this. There's some festival like that. They'll slaughter animals in the mass way. So whatever is adharma, because everything is about money, right? In this age, also, somehow or other, if you got money, people will respect you, and you can get whatever you want. You can even bribe the judges and get your justice in your favor. Many such cases have happened. So everybody is thinking like that. So King Vena was so foolish that he accused the saintly sages of being inexperienced like small children. In other words, he was accusing them of not having perfect knowledge. In this way, he could reject their advice and make accusations against them, comparing them to a woman who does not care for her husband and who maintains her but goes to satisfy a paramour who does not maintain her. The purpose of this simile is apparent. It is the duty of Kshatriyas to engage the Brahmanas in different types of religious activities, and the king is supposed to be the maintainer of the Brahmanas. If the Brahmanas do not worship the king but instead go to the demigods, they are polluted as unchaste women. Okay. What is the time? Okay, we can stop here. We can read afterwards later. So anybody like to say anything? Or yeah, whatever we read.
Can I sing one song?
Yes.
Okay, so this is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sajjana Toshini. हे प्रेमेरा ठाकुर गौरा, हे प्रेमेरा ठाकुर गौरा, प्राणेरा यातन किवा कबनाथ होइछे आपन हारा, कियारा बाली बाजे काजे रातरे एनी छिले नाथ नाथ जगते आमारे हेता दीना पारे कहिते से कथा खिदे दुखे हाय सारा प्रेमेरा ठाकुर गौरा हे प्रेमेरा ठाकुर गौरा तुम्हारा भजने न जन्मिला रति सदा माहे माता सदा दुरमती विषयी राखाचे ठेके ठेके आमी হইনু বিষয়ী পারা কে আমি কে না যে এসেছে এখানে সে কথা কখন নাহি ভাবি মানে কখন ভোগেরা কখন ত্যাগেরা ছলনায় মন নাচে প্রেমেরা ঠাকুর গৌরা হে প্রেমেরা ঠাকুর গৌরা কি গতি হইবে কখন ভাবি না হরি ভক্তেরা কাছাই যাই না হরি বিমুখেরা কুলক্ষণ যতা মাতায় সব আছে প্রেমেরা ঠাকুর গৌরা হে প্রেমেরা ঠাকুর গৌরা. So I'll read the translation for the rest of the song. O Shri Gaura Sundar, worshipable Lord of Prema, O my Master, what will I tell you of my sorrows and sufferings? I have forgotten my original identity. O my Lord, what more can I say? After enduring many wounds inflicted from my difficulties, then many days later I remembered the reason for which you gave me birth in this world. O Lord, I am so unfortunate that I had no attachment for worshipping you, but was always evil-minded and mad for material enjoyment. Living with sense enjoyers, I became like them. Who am I? Why am I in this world? These questions I never pondered. Sometimes enjoying, sometimes renouncing. My mind was dancing in this cheating. I never considered what would be my outcome. I never associated with Krishna's devotees, and I exhibited all bad signs of being opposed to Bhagwan. Now, by Sri Guru's grace, my eyes have been opened, and my dream has been broken. I now understand that I have only you, and that your beloved devotees are my greatest friends in the prison house of this material world. Now I worship your devotees exclusively and will serve no one else. O Nath, now I have taken shelter of your lotus feet, which are like red lotuses. Pulling me by the hair, please deliver me from Maya's net. Do you not bestow your mercy on the sinners? Were not Jagai and Madai also fallen? Yet you gave them your mercy. From this I can understand that you are the Lord of Prema and the deliverer of the fallen. O Prabhu, I am devoid of bhakti, wretched and destitute. Put your feet that grant fearlessness on the head of this offender. I take shelter of your divine feet. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is saying that Lord Gaura Sundar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is a Lord of Prema. The Supreme Lord only loves us, and he is trying his best in every lifetime to remind us that we can go back home, back to Godhead, and enjoy eternally with him. He doesn't want us to suffer in this material world, so he sends devotees in our lives. So sorrows and sufferings, are a reminder that this is not our home, this material world. So, and many who come to Krishna are the ones who are in misery. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritano Arjuna. And Krishna says they are very magnanimous souls who come to me. So ultimately, we ask these questions: why am I suffering? Who am I? Why am I in this world? All these questions come to everyone. These are athato brahma jigyasa. This is where self-realization begins. So we understand that till now I have been so unfortunate that I was not worshipping the one who loves me the most, but I was mad for material enjoyment. And being in the association of sense enjoyers, that was what was giving me so much suffering. So now, having come to Krishna consciousness, I realize that I have no one but Krishna who loves me the most, and Krishna's devotees are my best friends. And then, once we read Krishna's instructions through the Guru, then we understand that Guru is so merciful that he has opened my eyes, which was I was in full ignorance. That's why I was suffering. I was in a bad dream, basically, and Guru woke me up from this bad dream, and I have realized that I am in this prison house of the material world, and I want to get out of this prison. Not that I want to make this place very enjoyable and very comfortable. uh, well, we don't do that in a prison house. If we are in a prison, we want to escape as fast as we can. So Guru and devotees help us realize that. And so now I will worship your devotees exclusively, and I will serve no one else. So I will not serve my senses. I will not serve the sense enjoyers. My I will only serve devotees and Krishna, who are my best friends. And pulling me by the hair, please deliver me. So this Krishna. I think there is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna never gives up on his devotee, and even if the devotee runs away, Krishna will run after the devotee and he'll pull him by the hair, as he did in the case of Kala Krishna Das. So I'm going to paste these two verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Says, दुर्देव सेवक यदि याय अन्य स्थाने से ठाकुर धन्य तारे चूले धारी आने. If by chance a servant falls down and goes somewhere else, glorious is that master who captures him and brings him back by the hair. The second verse is, let's see. Yeah, the second verse is this one. Sei bhakta dhanya ye na chhade prabhura charan, say prabhu dhanya ye na chhade nij jan. Glorious is that devotee who does not give up the shelter of his Lord, and glorious is that Lord who does not abandon his servant. So we should not abandon Krishna for anything of this world. Our devotional service to Krishna should always be number one in priority above anything else. And for the Lord too, the Lord never abandons his servant. Even if we have been so sinful, so offensive throughout our multiple lifetimes, Krishna has never abandoned us. That's why he's so glorious. And so he's saying that you have bestowed mercy on the greatest sinners, Jagai and Madai. And Jagai and Madai had done every kind of sin possible in this world. So why would you not bestow mercy upon me? You are the Lord of Prema, and you are the deliverer of the fallen. And please place your feet on my head. Your feet grants fearlessness. I think gopis are also telling the same thing. Taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, we become fearless. So please place your feet on my head. I'm an offender. I take shelter of your lotus feet. And in Ramayana, Krishna says, Sakra deva prapannoyas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. If once we come to Krishna and say to Krishna, I surrender to you, Krishna, from this day I am yours, then Lord Ram is telling this. He's telling to everyone when Vibhishan is coming to surrender. He's saying that I will immediately award fearlessness to that person, and he will remain safe from that time on. So we have to come to the Lord and say, I'm yours. From this day, I'm yours. And that's it. He'll take away all our sinful reactions, and he will give us fearlessness. So, thank you, Prabhuji.
So he's saying, yeah, very nice. So please forcibly pull me out of this net of Maya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur always says like this, that by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, others have gotten mercy, why not me? They were also sinners and they also got your mercy, but you should also give mercy to me. So I am also fallen. You delivered so many fallen souls. In Gopinath song also it says, Asura sakala pailo charana thaki vinoda thakilo boshi. That all the asuras have been delivered, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur has remained in worldly existence. So he is very exalted, but he's feeling very like he's begging for the mercy of the Lord. I am devoid of bhakti, wretched and destitute. So I am an offender also. So, but I have come to your shelter. Please don't reject me. I have no qualification, but I have come to you. Please accept me. So if Krishna puts his hand, like you were saying Gopi Geet, right? There is the hand, put your hand which grants fearlessness. Virachita bhayam, virachita bhayam, Vrishni duriyate. Is that the words? Where he says,
Let me check. Yeah, right. Virachita bhayam vrishni dhuryate charanamiyusham samshrite bhaya karasaroruham kantakamadam shirasi dehina shikaragraham. O best of the Vishnus, your lotus-like hand, which holds the hand of the goddess of fortune, grants fearlessness to those who approach your feet out of fear of material existence. O lover, please place your wish-fulfilling lotus hand on our head. There is another one that says feet. You want, it's your lotus feet destroys the past sins. Pranata dehinam papa karshanam, saying that you put your lotus feet on the heads of the hood of the great serpent Kalia. Please place them upon our breasts and tear with the lust in our hearts.
okay, yeah, hand or Krishna's hand or Krishna's feet. This grants fearlessness. So, okay, so we have to take shelter of Krishna through the holy name, like that, through devotees. Okay, and in our mind, we will feel very like happy that we have shelter of Krishna. So there is fear is gone then. One feels very safe. Like you were saying, Sakri Deva Prapanno, yes. So surrender to Krishna will give ultimate peace in life. There will be no anxiety. Prabhupada writes in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita that for one who has taken the shelter of the Lord, he doesn't have to, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. He writes in one purport that he doesn't have to worry even in the midst of the greatest difficulty for one who has taken shelter of the Lord. So,
सर्वदुर्गाणि प्रसादितरि अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारना शोष्यसि विनक्ष्यसि. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. But if you don't work in such consciousness, you will be lost.
yeah, taking shelter of Krishna and remembering him, considering him as our protector. Right? So, of course, we have to, if we are, whatever helpless situation also, we should whether helpless or good situation, materially speaking. We are always in helpless situation, but yeah, this is the verse I was thinking, saying, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. So, if we chant Hare Krishna, if there is fear, there is always fearful. But if we take shelter by chanting Hare Krishna, then our fear will go away. Our anxiety, all these things, all the troubles of the mind will go away. So, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord means taking shelter of the holy name, has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the
Because
greatest calamity.
because even fear personified is fearful of the name of Krishna. Apanna samshritam ghoram. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death, they can be freed immediately, even by unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear
Fear
personified.
person.
And we have in the pastime of a Jamil, we see that Yamadutas, they fear devotees, and this if they fear devotee, they run away in fear, because whenever the holy name is chanted, all the fear personified becomes fearful.
Yeah, Yamraj says, don't go and approach the devotees. And then Prahlad also was so fearless. Um,
Our
so,
fear is because we think that we are this body. If we know that we are not this body and my spirit soul never dies, and even if I die, then my next birth is better, will be a better, because I am a devotee of Krishna and there is nothing to fear. Fear is of the fear of unknown, what would happen.
like, what is that? One who is wealthy, he has fear of losing wealth. One who is beautiful, he has fear of losing his beauty. There's Bhayarogam, this different kinds of fear, and there is.
Yeah, I'm pasting. So if you're not hankering for anything of material happiness, and we are satisfied in Krishna consciousness and serving Krishna, then there is nothing to fear. But we are desiring something material, because those things can be taken away from us, then there is fear of losing. So if we are enjoying through this body, and if the body becomes old or diseased, then we are fearful.
Correct. You want to read that? In enjoyment, there is fear of disease.
Mhm. In a family, there is fear of disgrace. In wealth, there is a fear of hostile rulers. In honor, there is fear of humiliation. In knowledge, there is fear of opponents. In beauty, there is a fear of old age. In power, there is fear of backbiters. In virtue, there is fear of jealousy. In body, there is a fear of death. All these things of this world pertaining to a man are attended by fear. Renunciation alone stands for fearlessness.
Okay, so
So we should not be happy in a nice material situation, knowing that it's temporary. If we are too happy in a material situation, then when that situation is taken away from us, we'll become very sad. So that's why we should be tolerant in both happiness and distress, knowing that both are temporary, like winter and summer season.
yeah, and if we have taken shelter in devotional service, then we believe in Krishna's words that he will protect me. So we should have faith.
And yeah, and protection, we also see that Jatayu's case, right? His body was not protected, but his consciousness is protected. So that's what we are talking about here. Because bhakti is never lost. Any name that you have chanted of Krishna even once, that is your eternal bank balance.
Yep. All devotional credits are eternal. Only thing is we have to do devotional service in the right consciousness. So,
Mhm.
I mean, still, even if we can't do it, like attentive chanting, we can't do because mind is distracted. But whatever we are chanting, even Namabhas chanting, ultimately will accumulate some sukruti. Even like Rajamil didn't chant in, he chanted in Namabhas, but he then later on became a pure devotee. So all his sins were taken away, and then he became a pure devotee. So, but we should try to do it in as much as possible. We have to try to do in good consciousness that I am doing it to please Krishna. So that's the
Was it Premvilas Prabhu was saying that if we do it in, with desires to enjoy, then what was he saying, that
bhukti,
Krishna will
mukti,
fulfill
and
those
prem.
desires?
Yeah, if offensive chanting can give bhukti, Namavas chanting can give mukti, and Shuddha Nam will give prem. So offensive chanting, I mean, if you have material desires, then Krishna will fulfill our material desires. Even if we chant, Krishna is so kind that even if we chant somehow his name, then it can. But of
Yeah,
course,
he
there
will
is also.
fulfill those desires, but that will ultimately frustrate us. He'll fulfill in such a way
Yeah.
that, like he did in the case of Anga. He gave him a son, but that frustrated him.
Yeah. So we can reach a few verses. I want to finish till 30. So we have not much big purports. We'll just go through this. So
Or we can read Chaitanya Charitamrita.
okay, yeah, which verse we are on? This was we are reading about that in the fisherman, right?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going into ecstasy. You saved the verse.
Prakashananda Saraswati. It's
No,
done.
scroll down. Okay, I
Okay.
thought you saved it.
Okay, so it is in which chapter?
This was Antilila.
Okay.
Transcendental madness. And,
Yeah, here transcendental madness. So he thought the sea is Yamuna and he jumped into it, and whole night he was unconscious. They found him in the morning. So that's where we are at, I think. Okay, this is 29. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was searching for for Krishna in the mood of Radharani. The gopis, when Krishna disappeared, then they were looking for Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in that mood. In the same way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered in that garden by the sea. Absorbed in the ecstatic mood of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered here and there. He began to inquire after Krishna by quoting verses to all trees and creepers. So they were asking the trees, have you seen Krishna? They were asking the moon, they were asking. Then they finally asked Tulsi also. Tulsi, you're always on the lotus feet of Krishna. So you should know where Krishna is. So, like that, they were asking. The gopis said, O Chuta tree, Priyala tree, Panasa, Asana, Kovidara, O Jambu tree. Did we read this? No. O Arka tree, O Bel, Bakula, Kadamba tree, O Nipa tree, and all other trees living on the bank of Yamuna. for the well. Please let us know where Krishna has gone. It's just like when a mother loses her child, she becomes so mad. Where is my child? Where is my child? Where is my child? Right? So the same way gopis were saying, where is, they were asking everybody and anybody who they met, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? We have lost our minds and are almost dead. Of course, this is in the material world, but in the spiritual world, the emotions are like in the pure state, and they are millions of times more like magnified. So they have become mad in separation. All auspicious Tulsi plant. You are very dear to Govinda's lotus feet, and he is very dear to you. Have you seen Krishna walking here, wearing a garland of your leaves, surrounded by a swarm of bumblebees? So Tulsi is on the lotus feet. So maybe she knows. Maybe Krishna told Tulsi where he is going, or Tulsi saw Krishna. Oh, plant of Malti flowers, Malika flowers, Jati and Yuthika flowers. Have you seen Krishna passing this way, touching you with his hand to give you pleasure? Did Krishna touch you? Where did he go? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, oh mango tree. So this is in Puri. That happened in Vrindavan, but this is in Puri. Mahaprabhu has entered into the mood of the gopi. O mango tree, or Radharani specifically, O jackfruit tree, O Payala, Jambu and Kovidara trees, you are all inhabitants of a holy place. Therefore, kindly act for the welfare of others. So he thinks that the river is Yamuna. And have you seen Krishna coming this way? Kindly tell us which way he has gone and save our lives. So they can't live without Krishna. So they're frantically looking, frantically. Just as a mother can't live without her child, the gopis can't live without Krishna. When the trees did not reply, the gopis guessed, since all of these trees belong to the male class, all of them must be friends of Krishna. Like Yashoda also, she is also in a different mood, Vatsalya mood, but she also can't live without Krishna. So everybody in Vrindavan, ultimately they are in so much love with Krishna that they are always thinking, when will Krishna come? This is one reason why Krishna on Gopashtami decided to go into the forest, because the trees in the forest, they were also pining in their heart for Krishna's association. And Krishna was not coming because he was only going till the outskirts of Nandagram. So he wanted to reciprocate with all the trees in the forest also, and all the other animals. So of course the trees can't move, animals can come close to Krishna, but so when the trees did not reply, the gopis guessed, since all of these trees belong to male class, they must be friends of Krishna. So they are making up so many. Why they are not replying? So they have got this transcendental madness. Why should the trees tell us where Krishna has gone? Because the trees are on Krishna's side. Let us rather inquire from the creepers, and they are female and therefore like friends to us. The creepers will tell us. Females can understand females, the males cannot understand. They will certainly, or they have sided with the male, they will certainly tell us where Krishna has gone since they have seen him personally. So it is their hope that somebody will tell them about Krishna. So they are going from pillar to post, as we say. Somebody will know about Krishna. So they are going asking everybody. Like Draupadi was also going from one place to another. Somebody will help in this assembly. Somebody will help. So ultimately only Krishna helped. They will certainly tell us where Krishna has gone, since they have seen him personally. So Krishna left the Ras dance, so he must have gone this path. So all these animals and these trees must have seen him. Guessing in this way, the gopis inquired from plants and creepers headed by Tulsi. O Tulsi, O Malti, O Yuthi, Madhavi, Malika, Krishna is very dear to you, therefore he must have come near you. Tulsi is always dear to Krishna. So whoever is dear, we go near them. So Krishna must have come close to you. You are all just like dear friends to us. Kindly tell us which way Krishna has gone and save our lives. They can't live. That is why they are saying that, it kills us, right? Your separation is killing us. In Gopi Geet somewhere it says, Parada Nignato Nehakim Vada. You are the bestower of benediction. Why are you killing us? Please show yourself to us. So, Varada, we are your Asulka Dashika. We are like your, we are not asking any payment for you. We are serving you just for your pleasure. But you have abandoned us. Such, pure servants. When they still received no reply, the gopis thought, these plant are all Krishna's maid servants. Out of fear, they will not speak to us. So first the trees were males, now they went to the creepers. They didn't get any answer. Then they thought, oh, these are Krishna's maid servants. So Krishna must have told them not to tell. Or, so they are out of fear of Krishna, they are not telling. The gopis then came upon a group of she deer, smelling the aroma of Krishna's body and seeing the faces of the deer. The gopis inquired from them to ascertain if Krishna was nearby. How did they smell Krishna's aroma? Looking at the deer, maybe Krishna patted them or something. And that's how they got the aroma of Krishna. So they asked, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, O wife of the deer, Lord Krishna has been embracing his beloved, and thus the kumkum powder on her breast has covered his garland of kunda flowers. So all the cosmetics on Gopi's body has now come on Krishna's garland. This fragrance of this garland is flowing here. Oh my dear friend. So they're saying we can smell the fragrance of Krishna's garland. Oh my dear friend, have you seen Krishna passing this way with his dearmost companion, increasing the pleasure of the eyes of all of you? Okay, so it is maybe the gopis are coming when Krishna has gone with Radharani. So, because Krishna with his dearmost companion, Radharani, they have gone together. First, in that Ras Lila, Krishna lives with Radharani and the gopis are searching. Oh dear doe, Sri Krishna is always pleased to give you pleasure. Kindly inform us whether he passed in this way in the company of Srimati Radharani. We think they must certainly have come this way. And Radharani also slows down after some time because she is thinking that, yes, the gopis will be searching because for Krishna. So she is also feeling they should also get Krishna's association. So she slows down, right? Or she wants Krishna to slow down. So, isn't it like that? That she's thinking that the gopis should also get Krishna's association.
Yes.
We are not outsiders. Being very dear friends of Srimati Radharani, we can perceive the bodily fragrance of Krishna from a distance. We are used to. We know the aroma of Krishna's body. So, from a distance we can perceive his fragrance. So, he must be around here somewhere. Krishna has been embracing Srimati Radharani, and the kumkum powder on her breast has mixed with the garland of kunda flowers decorating his body. The fragrance of the garland has scented the entire atmosphere. So Krishna's garland has the kumkum powder, and the fragrance of that garland is spreading everywhere. Lord Krishna has left this place, and therefore the deer are feeling separation. They do not hear our words. Therefore, how can they reply? So, deer are also in the separation. They are also sad. Maybe that's why they are not speaking. They don't hear. Uh, the gopis then came upon many trees so laden with fruits and flowers that their branches were bent to the ground. So much heavy fruits and flowers that it was bending the branches. The gopis thought that because all the trees must have seen Krishna pass by, they were offering respectful obeisances to him. To be certain, the gopis inquired from trees. They are thinking they are bent because they must have touched Krishna's feet while he was passing. Lord Chaitanya continued, O trees, kindly tell us whether Balram's younger brother Krishna welcomed your obeisances with loving glances as he passed this way. They are assuming that they are bent because they must have offered obeisances to Krishna. Resting one hand on the shoulder of Srimati Radharani, holding a lotus flower in the other, and being followed by a swarm of bumblebees maddened by the fragrance of tulsi flowers. How Krishna is going, they are imagining Krishna must have his hand on the shoulder of Radharani and then holding lotus flower in other hand, and the bumblebees are following Krishna. They are visualizing in their mind how Krishna must have gone and what happened when he came this way. Then he must have bowed down to stop the bumblebees from landing on the face of his beloved. He whisked them away with the lotus flower in his hand, and thus his mind was slightly diverted so that the bumblebees don't come on Radharani's face. So he has this lotus flower and he must have shoot them away like that with the lotus flower. So he may have been diverted slightly because he was now thinking how to take care of these bumblebees. Did he not? Did he or did he not pay attention while you offered him obeisances? So maybe he was busy removing bumblebees, and you offered him obeisances, and he did not notice. Or did he notice? Kindly give evidence supporting your words. Separation from Krishna has made these servants very unhappy. Having lost consciousness, how can they answer us? Yeah, they are too sad to answer. They are completely like, in a very zombie-like state. They don't know what to say. Their Krishna is gone. So how can they speak to us? They are in too much sadness. Saying this, the gopis stepped on the beach by the Yamuna river. So they went everywhere. Then they went to Yamuna river. There they saw Lord Krishna beneath a kadamba tree. So they're seeing Krishna under a kadamba tree, standing there with his flute to his lips. Krishna who enchants millions upon millions of cupids. So by this time they've met Radharani also, because Krishna ultimately also leaves Radharani and goes. And they all go to the Yamuna and they are singing the Gopi Geet, at the end of which they are crying and Krishna shows himself, right? Rudo, what is that?
इति गोप्या प्रगायन्तः पद्यस्य प्रदा गुरुधुल्सिप्रेम राजन् कृष्णदर्शनलालसाम् भासमान.
Okay, so like that, Krishna is standing there because he appeared before them, because they were crying. So crying makes Krishna appear. They were very desperate. Standing there with his flute to his lips, Krishna, who enchants millions upon millions of cupids, attracted the eyes and minds of all world with his unlimited beauty. Manmatha, Manmatha. Okay, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the transcendental beauty of Krishna, he fell down on the ground unconscious. At that time, all the devotees headed by Swarup Damodar Goswami joined him in the garden. So he's seeing Krishna like that in the garden. Just as before, they saw all the symptoms of transcendental ecstatic love manifested in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was seeing Krishna, all Ashta Sattvic Vikar appeared. Although externally he appeared bewildered, he was tasting transcendental bliss within him. Within. Once again, all the devotees brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to consciousness by a concerted effort. The Lord then got up and began wandering here and there, looking all around. So he became like in a trance, and then they brought him to consciousness. And then when he got up, he was looking everywhere, here and there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Where has my Krishna gone? I saw him just now, and his beauty has captivated my eyes and mind." So he saw in the forest. Why can't I see Krishna? Again see Krishna holding his flute to his lips. My eyes are wandering in hopes of seeing him once more. I want to see Krishna again. I saw him, he was playing his flute. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then recited the following verse, which was spoken by Srimati Radharani to our dear friend Vishakha. This is from Govinda Lilamrita. My dear friend, it's 8:30, we'll stop there. My dear friend, the luster of Krishna's body is more brilliant. So Radharani is telling Vishakha. My dear friend, the luster of Krishna's body is more brilliant than that of a newly formed cloud. Krishna is so attractive. Luster is so attractive, brilliant than a cloud. He is bluish black, but more beautiful. And his yellow dress is more attractive than newly arrived lightning. A peacock feather decorates his head, and on his neck hangs a lovely necklace of brilliant pearls. As he holds his charming flute to his lips, his face looks as beautiful as the full autumn moon. His face is so beautiful like the moon, full moon. Sharat. By such beauty, Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid, is increasing the desire of my eyes to see him. So looking at Krishna, I just want to keep looking. His beauty is so enchanting that I just want to keep seeing at him. It is just increasing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in separation from Krishna. Like how Radharani in separation from Krishna she's remembering his beauty, and then she's saying, I want to see Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, Sri Krishna's complexion is as polished as powdered ointment. It surpasses the beauty of a newly formed cloud and is softer than a blue lotus flower. Indeed, his complexion is so pleasing that it attracts the eyes and minds of everyone. And it is so powerful that it defies all comparison. So his body is softer than a blue lotus flower. My dear friend, please tell me what I should do. Krishna is as attractive as a wonderful cloud, and my eyes are just like chatat birds, which are dying of thirst because they do not see such a cloud. She wants to gaze at Krishna infinitely forever. So the chatak bird, which is dying of thirst, isn't that the bird which is waiting for the rain? The chatak, and there is chakora bird, and there is a chatak bird. So the chatak bird is the one that is waiting for the moon to rise.
The rain.
The rain or no? The chakora is, the rain.
Chakora is,
And it will only drink water, even though it's thirsty. It will only drink water from.
even though there is a thunderbolt, something like that. It's ready to face a thunderbolt, but waiting only for the clouds to give the rain.
Whether it showers, rains, or thunderbolt. Yeah. So they are waiting to see Krishna. Very thirsty eyes. So Prabhupada says about Chatak bird. The example is given. These Chatak birds, they want water from the cloud. They will never come down to take water. Similarly, devotees will simply depend on Krishna. They will not accept anything from this material world. Example is given that sometimes the cloud, instead of giving water, gives thunderbolt. Still, they will not take water from down. That is a chatak. Means even if you worship Krishna and there is difficulty, still they will worship Krishna. The thunderbolt is like the difficulty. So, although sometimes they are punished, instead of water, they are given thunderbolt. But still, they will not go anywhere else. Mat prananathas seva naparaha. So it's not like I'm getting difficulty by worshipping Krishna. So I'll change my worship. I'll go to this other demigod to take shelter. There is water elsewhere in the lake, but they will just take water which comes from the cloud. Even if the cloud does not give water sometime, it gives thunderbolt. So, the chatak does not take water from ground. They will take water when it falls from the cloud. Example means a devotee will take mercy from Krishna, not from the material world. Even if there is thunder, Krishna does not give mercy but puts him into difficulty. Still, he will not take any mercy from the material world. Of course, from devotees we take mercy. So, we'll stop here. So he's waiting for Krishna, just as Chatak bird is very thirsty, waiting for the rain to come. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes are waiting for Krishna to show up. Okay, so I will put this. Maybe this Sisiyantya, that's why I put something Sisiyantya. And this is another chapter, and this is 15th chapter. Okay. And yeah, madness. Okay, so we are going to stop there for today. Thank you everyone for joining.